Out Whiskey Gaming Show this week. I'm gonna run 45 minutes, around about that time. And after that, there will be the Meta Show, and I believe the Meta Show will be talking about the upcoming EVE Alliance Tournament 15, I think it is 15. Let's check that. We're at 15. Yeah, it's 15. And that'll be starting next weekend, and running for 4 weekends. So that'll be really, really cool. A lot of elite PvP action, a lot of intense kind of warfare going on, and a whole host of prizes, including some very unique ships as well. So that'll be really, really cool. We're gonna start this off with. Do you want to start it off with non-EVE kind of stuff for the first bit, and then we'll kind of work into the EVE stuff? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, how are you doing? How are you doing this week, by the way? Just out of interest.
I'm all discombobulated. I forgot about the show being on today. I mean, I completely forgot about it until you said something to me. I was like, oh, I guess I better get ready.
Yeah, I was like, guys, there's a show on, kind of thing, and yeah. I'm glad you I'm glad you saw the notice. That's all I've got to say about that.
Right.
But yeah, you've been yes, family related stuff. But we've got a few things. I mean, I've been playing a lot of EVE lately. To be completely honest, I've been playing a fair amount of EVE. I've been enjoying playing EVE, recording EVE, and actually making videos. I've got a video in the making at the moment. Not specifically INN kind of fronted kind of video, even though I'm part of the creative team. But it's a video, done for my alliance, for the initiative. So showcasing a few kind of cool things that we've been doing over the past week, and interesting and funny stuff that's been happening. Other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Rust, and I've been playing some PUBG, which is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I want to get that game still. I mean,
it's a hoot, man.
I'm always behind the times when everybody else gets cool games, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to get that, and then I sleep on it, and I keep forgetting about it. It's like, I'll get it someday.
Yeah, it's a really good game. Like, honest to God, it's definitely. I would say it's one of those kind of games that like a lot of games have tried to do the same thing, tried to do something very similar,
right?
But they haven't quite got the mixture right. Like PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has, to at least my kind of experience in the matter, has been the closest, if not has actually hit the nail on the head kind of thing. There's always an issue when it comes to first person shooting games and stuff like that, that there's nefarious people who want to abuse it and hack and stuff like that. But like, right, to my kind of experience playing it, you don't see that often at all. Like, nowhere near enough to warrant it actually spoiling the experience. And the thing is, it's nice, and it's not like some games where it has that first person element, but you've got sort of a massive multiplayer persistence like you do in EVE, where if you have hackers, if you have cheaters and stuff like that, it really, really ruins the experience. It doesn't have that because it's it's like a sharded kind of environment of you're going into a match each time. Even if you do get like those one or two hackers, you get that kind of experience of, I don't think I actually got killed legitimately. You just know that, when you queue up for the next one, chances are, for the most part, you're not going to get another person kind of acting in that kind of manner in that match. So it's kind of nice to have that. Really, really nice to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I've been kind of going back and forth with old and new for the last week or so now. I've been going back to the old Star Wars, the Old Republic. I got back into that because I never finished half the characters that I had.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still a fun game to play to me. I mean, I'm just, being the Star Wars nerd, it's always fun to play. And then I found a new game, Revelation Online. It's a massive multiplayer. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of the magic stuff, flying people, and I don't know. I haven't figured that game out yet. I'll have to bring more on that one later. But been playing a lot of Cross Out lately. Just various little things here and there I've been kind of messing with.
Okay, I've played a few Star Wars games, but I don't think I've really played any Star Wars games specifically on the PC. I think most of the Star Wars games that I have actually played have been like super old school and mainly on consoles. I think. What was it? I think the last proper Star Wars game I played, I think, was actually Knights of the Old Republic. That's how like the one.
Right.
And that was actually
I've
really
got
good.
that whole collection on Steam, except I'm missing one of them, and if I forget which one it is, I think it's Rebel Alliance.
Okay, because I really enjoyed Knights of the Old Republic and the second one. I think there's a third one. Is there a third one? I'm sure there's a third one. Google says there's a third one. Oh no, it's a rumor. That's what it is.
Really? Send me a link to that. I might have to look that one up.
I don't know. I just looking at. Oh no, it's cancelled. Oh, it's cancelled. Sorry to get your hopes up there, man. Sorry to get your hopes up. Like the
new Carnival cruise ship cancelled.
You want to get on that life kind of like luxury liner that you actually buy an apartment on. Kind of one you want.
Well, this new Carnival cruise ship that they were supposed to build was supposed to be the largest ship in the world, and they canceled it for whatever reason. I didn't even read the whole story on it. Kind of ticked me off, though. It was supposed to have apartments on it, though, and all this, zip lining through the ship, like Royal Caribbean has, except the ship was bigger. It's supposed to actually have a people mover on it, like Six Flags theme parks do.
Wow.
I mean, that's how big this ship was.
That's pretty sizable. If it needs that, then it's pretty sizable, yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there has been some other kind of Star Warsy based kind of games that have been like making the rounds a bit. There's Battlefront. Like, have you checked out Battlefront in any way, shape, or form?
Oh yeah, I've played that one. The Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D. That's the only game that I'm missing from the entire collection.
Rogue Squadron 3D.
It's an old one.
To be fair, I do remember I think it may have been Rogue Squadron. I do remember some really old school kind of games that I played, like old school Star Wars games that I played on, I think, the PlayStation. Or when you kind of you have your sort of thoughts back then of how it was, and you kind of go, oh yeah, it was a really good game, etc., quite nice graphics, etc. And then you go back and you look at actual video footage of the old the proper old school kind of gameplay and the graphics, and you go, my god, they were that bad. I mean, the gameplay was great.
Reminds me of that.
But yeah, and you go back
you play Dark Forces now on a modern day PC, and it's like you can hardly even play it because you can't see where the openings are in the rock walls to know where to walk into. It's just it blends in too well. Wow.
That's crazy. That's kind of like when I think about playing GoldenEye on the N64. You kind of have an idea, you get that kind of idea of oh yeah, it was okay, it was fairly decent. And then when you actually look at videos of it, it's wow. I was content with the I was actually quite impressed with the graphic fidelity at that time, to be honest. And now it's just wow, I could probably play that on my phone very easily. In fact,
I don't know, one of the older Star Wars games that is still a lot of fun to play, and I know a buddy of mine, he still plays the hell out of it, is the Knights of the Republic 2 Sith Lords.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he plays the shit out of that one, and that's still a lot of fun to play.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing that. I was really, really impressed.
If you didn't play that game enough to get your money out of it, there's something wrong with you. You should just delete all Star Wars games from your computer and go play freaking Cracker Jack somewhere.
Yeah, there was a lot of replay in that game for some. I enjoyed getting my money's worth out of that game. Definitely. But yeah, I mean, other than that, let's just kind of dive into what's been going on like this week. Like non-Eve related at the moment, at least. There's been a bunch of kind of things coming out, like trailers and stuff coming out. Like, I mean, I don't know how long we can go until we start talking about Game of Thrones, and I'm not entirely certain how many people who are watching have watched the latest Game of Thrones, or who like will get really annoyed if we actually started talking about like what happened in the, season 7, episode 1. So I don't know if any of you out there who haven't seen it and like don't want spoilers, like say something in chat, so like we know not to talk too much about trailers, about the spoilers in it. But if I don't see anything complaining about Game of Thrones spoilers in the chat, then we're just going to start talking about it and see what happens. But even so, there's been a few kind of interesting trailers for films and stuff coming out. Have you ever, RW, have you ever seen a kind of, it's like a sort of a spy, but like a kind of, it's like a spy film, but sort of like I guess like an Englishy take to spy films, but it's like a bit of it's almost like a spoof kind of spy film, but not quite, called Kingsman. Have you seen Kingsman before? Have you heard of Kingsman before?
I've heard of it. I have not seen any kind of reviews or previews on it yet or anything.
Okay, well, I mean, let's just put it this way. It was decent enough to warrant a sequel. So, obviously it did enough there to actually, to warrant that. And it went well enough for the sequel to actually warrant having Channing Tatum actually on do the sequel. So fairly decent, I would say. But like, I'm just gonna quickly run a little kind of transition into this very quickly. I actually get it right. Okay. We just fade out into this. There we go. And I'm just gonna run a little trailer for a little bit, not the full trailer. You can find the full trailer on YouTube. But I'm just going to run a little bit of it.
We're from the Kingsman Tailor Shop in London. Maybe you've heard of us?
Today marks the beginning of a new age. Wait, I'm gonna show you. Say goodbye to the Kingsmen.
Kind of got a bit of a save the world situation here.
Welcome to Statesman.
As your American cousins, we'll be working side by side.
Let's get started.
We've got brains, skills, skipping rope.
So yeah, that's Kingsman, by the way. Well, that's the second Kingsman anyway, let's put it that way.
So a couple of big names in there.
Yeah, man. And as you can tell, it's not like hardcore kind of like sort of spy kind of thing in the same vein of like I don't know, like 007 is kind of like they do have like the tongue-in-cheek kind of at like parts of 007, but like it's not like super hardcore, like say like the Bourne series, like Bourne Supremacy or Bourne Identity. That kind of. So it does have a bit of its fun side, a bit of its playful side, which is really kind of cool. I quite like it.
It's kind of funny you mentioned 007 because just before you said that, I was sitting there thinking that it really had this like James Bondish feel to it as I was watching that preview.
Well, it is sort of like slightly centered around like a sort of British spy kind of thing with the Kingsman kind of bit to it, but like I really like how they kind of interjected the the American kind of side to it, the statesman kind of side sort of thing that they say about it, which is I thought was really cool, and obviously having a lot of fun with that, which is really awesome. So it should be a fun watch, should be really awesome. But yeah, we've had that. There's a new Blade Runner second trailer. If you want to see that, how do you feel about that? You want to watch a bit of that?
What was it?
The new Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
There's a second trailer for that. There's been a first trailer, but there's a second trailer as well, which is cool. So we'll just run that very quickly for a little bit.
Roll it.
Roll it. Okay. Just check this shit out.
I thought you might be able to help me with the case. Any idea where I could find him?
You police plan on taking me in?
I would much prefer that to the alternative.
Every leap of civilization was built off the back of slaves. Replicants are the future, but I can only make so many.
I had the lock.
And he has the key.
I think I found him.
That's not possible. If this gets out, we've bought ourselves a war.
You're a cop. I had your job once.
Things were simpler then.
What do you want?
I want to ask you some questions. What happened?
I covered my tracks. Scrambled the records. We were being hunted.
By who?
They know you're here. You do not know what pain is yet. You will learn. Bring it to me.
This breaks the world.
We have to go.
I'm coming with you.
Where is he?
The future of the species is finally unearthed.
Yeah, man. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah. Harrison Ford did look a little on the rough side there. But, I mean, he it has been a little while since he did Blade Runner, so you kind of afford him a little bit of a little bit on that. So, but
that one looked interesting, though. I definitely think I'll have to catch that one.
Yeah, man, it looks really cool. But yeah, I like the kind of the way that they're kind of doing it. I'm not entirely certain how much you know of like the whole kind of people geeking out on Blade Runner and all of the because there's always been this kind of thing of like, oh yeah, well have you seen Blade Runner? But where you get this kind of conversation of like, oh, have you seen Blade Runner? Yeah, I've seen Blade Runner. Oh, but have you seen the extended director's cut version of it, etc., etc.? And it's like, oh yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So, I think one of the things that was James Cameron. Is it James Cameron who directed? I'm sure it's James Cameron who directed it, but I'm just being really terrible in actually making sure that I get this right. 2, etc. Ridley Scott, not James Cameron. See, this is the reason why I make sure that I check some stuff out. Ridley Scott, like, I mean, I remember that there was something about like someone talking about whether Harrison Ford's character was human or a replicant, and I think at one point Ridley Scott said that like he spilled the beans that he was actually meant to be a replicant. And I think when you kind of think of it that way, and you sort of look back at the trailer, it actually it almost makes sense as though that this looks like it's going to be a film that's going to be almost the mirror to the first Blade Runner film, where Harrison Ford is basically a Blade Runner, going out and killing replicants, and it almost feels as though with Harrison's character basically saying, I had to bury the evidence, hide my tracks and stuff like that. Like, he found out like he was a replicant, and he knew that if everyone else found out, he would be hunted down. So it's almost as if it's like Blade Runner, but from the other perspective, from the perspective of the replicant, and trying to hide from Blade Runners, and trying to either sort the situation out or kind of go to the head and actually sort of cut the head off the snake kind of thing, which is, I think that's kind of an interesting new kind of way of a new take on the Blade Runner kind of franchise, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's like the Marshmallow just stated there in the chat that there was a series of books based on that premise as well.
Yeah. I'm sure the film is probably going to feed off various different aspects from those books. So, yeah.
Right.
I expect it to be rather explosive, but like I hope that I think it's Villeneuve or something like that, the guy who's directing it. It's the same guy who did Arrival, whatever. Denis Villeneuve. I hope that he kind of gives a bit, like, adds a lot of like deep, meaningful kind of stuff to it as well that the original Blade Runner had. Like, there were a lot of monologues and a lot of like abstract concepts in that film, in the first Blade Runner, that were actually quite deep when you actually look at it. So I really hope that they do the same sort of thing.
And I've kind of missed them when they flashed on the screen because it's not coming up in the chat, but I know Rhyology Labs just gave us a follow, and Janela Sisters just gave us a follow, but I missed the other two before them. But we appreciate y'all doing that.
We totally do. Like, thank you very much for the follows. We really appreciate it.
And another one there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Yeah, I looked at that and I was like,
Kamoplasik, something like that. Forgive me if I pronounce these wrong. I'm horrible at pronunciations of creative names.
It's all good. Like, we really do appreciate all the follows from you lot. Yes. So it's really, it helps out a lot. It actually really does help out a lot, to be honest. And it helps you a lot as well, because you know when we're on, and you know when we're doing stuff. So it's all good. So yeah, there's been those two things. There's been. I kind of want to talk about the Disaster Artist, but I know it's not really it's not a geeky thing or a sci-fi thing, so I don't know how receptive you would be, or the audience would be about talking about the Disaster Artist. And it's basically Disaster Artist is a new film by what's their call there by James Franco and Seth Rogen. And it's basically it's a making of, like a spoof making of film about this particular cult film called The Room, and this film has been basically widely regarded as the worst film that has ever been made. And the reason why it's got cult status is because it's one of those things that has become so bad that it's actually really good. Like, you watch it with a different mindset. You don't watch it as a like it's a serious film mindset, but like you watch it as a sort of like this was so bad it's good kind of thing, sort of. And then, like, if no one's seen The Room, like, I mean, I wouldn't recommend people to go see The Room, but like, I'd recommend people to at least go watch like synopsises, or like, for example, there is a YouTube channel which basically does a bunch of really funny breakdowns of films. Try to find it on my history. But essentially they do where can I find it? Quickly going through it right now.
Real quick, Raimi and Blanc, thank you for those follows.
Oh yeah. So it's called Cinema. The channel name is called Cinema Sins. You probably have heard of it. It's basically they do everything wrong with a particular film in however minutes or less, kind of thing, and that's the everything wrong with The Room in 8 minutes or less, which is funny as like just look for The Room, you'll find a whole bunch of different things about it. There's even a Star Wars thing with the guy who basically was a The Room was basically I think Tommy Wiseau is the director and the kind of the main guy in the film, the main actor in the film. I think initially it was designed to be his kind of audition tape as like, how well he can act kind of thing, but it just turned out so bad. And I think that's the reason why it's called The Disaster Artist, because it's like he's the artist of this disastrous film kind of thing. But I'm just gonna quickly play a thing about it. That's okay? That's cool?
Yeah,
cool. Second, swap over to another one.
Ready, and action!
What line? What line?
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Okay.
Action!
What is line?
Take 13. Action.
I did not hit her. Okay. Line.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Take 67. Action.
I hit her.
No. Do you want to change the line?
You're doing great, man. We'll get there.
Action. Action. Action.
You have
Action.
to say out loud. I can't hear it in here. Say action so I can hear her.
Okay. Action.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Ready?
Yeah. As you can probably tell. But to be completely fair on Tommy Wiseau, like apparently, in that particular thing, they didn't do that many takes, so fair enough. But even so, I would recommend, that'll be a coming soon as well, which is going to be pretty awesome. And Drayden, that wasn't Tommy Wiseau. That was actually, I think it was James Franco playing Tommy Wiseau. But that's basically the film of the making of spoof film of The Room, which is going to be coming soon. That's going to be really awesome.
It don't matter how soon, but whatever movies are coming out between now and December 1st, don't matter. It's what comes out in December is all that matters.
Yeah. In terms of revenue,
that's the next Star Wars movie. Everybody knows that.
Good point. I completely forgot about that. So
I keep saying December cannot get here fast enough.
Yeah, that's true. It's very, very true, actually. That's going to be pretty awesome. So just quickly checking out of the audience that we have at the moment, who here, like, speak up in Twitch chat if you haven't seen the latest Game of Thrones. As in Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1. And thank you, Drayden, for the link to the new Star Wars trailer. Awesome. But if you all have seen it, then I'm going to talk about it, so it's all good. So, well, I mean, you're cool with RW. You're cool with talking a little bit of Game of Thrones before we go. Before we introduce like Meta Show and stuff, yeah. Because
I can't help.
Man.
I'm sorry. It's that link that Drayden put up there. I was just watching it. Plugged the football off of Mark Hamill's forehead.
Which one is this? Oh yeah, that one.
It's the spoof Star Wars.
See, I linked that to what's his face? I linked that specifically to Tib, and I have that strange feeling that Tib linked that to Drayden. Have that strange feeling. That strange feeling. Don't know why. It's probably complete bullshit. Like, to be fair, it's not like I found the video. It's up on YouTube, and a lot of people have seen it. So whatever.
I think Marsha's mad at us. Yeah, we're always spoiling it.
What? You had to buy a sub because you're all spoiling it? What? I'm so confused.
Yeah, Dre, the old high mark, and then throws the football and plugs it off his head.
Think.
That was hilarious.
It is great. It's great. There's a lot of actual really funny bits to that. It's like, oh, hi, doggy. I can see you cracking up. Oh my god. Oh, right. I see what you mean, Marshall. But yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait for this Sunday's episode and next Sunday's episode. Holy crap! But
I'm gonna be honest on something here. I have never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. No replays. No, not even a commercial I've seen. I've seen pictures of it online.
Really?
From past episodes. I've never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. The
The
only thing I watched was the little snip of the last episode when she came in and
kills a bunch
did what she did to the whole.
You don't.
room
Well,
and
I mean,
kill count.
you don't know the significance of that though. Holy crap!
I
do you not know?
I have no clue what's going on with that.
Because those people there, and those people there were basically the people who murdered a large amount of her family. Like, they killed her mother, they killed her brother, they killed so many people. Like, and she wanted to get, like, she had a list of like people that she was going to kill. I mean, yeah, fair enough, she didn't name every single person in that room, sort of first name surname kind of thing, but like you can bet, like, et al was at the end of that. So they had to die.
And it's weird because even though I've never watched any of the episodes, I am a huge fan of those types of movies set back in, like, the medieval times era. I've always been a huge fan of that stuff, but I never watched Game of Thrones. I never watched Hunger Games either.
Well, I never really watched Hunger Games either, but like, I mean, I think Game of Thrones has this kind of ability to be, I mean, but magic and shit like that aside, like, the sort of the meta magic that you have in Game of Thrones aside, and the kind of White Walkers aspect of it, it's actually quite gritty. It's quite realistic. It's not one of those sort of ones. It's not like a Lord of the Rings where it's like, orcs and all that kind of bullshit. Like, you get the impression that when you're watching Game of Thrones, that you're watching something that, to a degree, actually has some semblance of reality in it in some way. Like, I mean, yeah, there are certain aspects of it which is obviously unreal, dragons and the like kind of thing. But like, dragons you don't switch on Game of Thrones and sort of, you can't switch on Game of Thrones, just wind to some kind of, go to some particular random site and, be fairly sure that you'll see, dragons in the next 5 minutes. It doesn't play a major aspect of the storyline and how it kind of progresses, sort of thing. But like, You know, so you do get that kind of, and to be fair, they do a lot of very gritty, realistic kind of things to it. You know, the Battle of the Bastards is a prime example of that. I mean, you know, you go to any other like major motion picture that, you know, is like historical in context and stuff, and you look at how they done the battle scenes there, and then you look at the battle scene in that particular episode, and it's just like, Christ, Game of Thrones did it so much better, so much more realistic, and so much just, yeah, it's crazy.
It's like Drayden lighting me up order to chat. Winter is coming.
Oh, winter is coming.
What is this winter you speak of?
Winter is coming.
I don't know what winter is.
Well, you should know what winter is. It's a relatively, you know, normal aspect. It's a fairly decent, fairly easy concept to grasp. But essentially what it means is like...
My winter is 75 to 80 degrees down here.
Oof, well, that's not winter. What are you talking about? Winter is like, you know, sort of essentially, you know, snow-covered landscapes, you know, the ability to, you know, maybe the ability like looking out of it going, oh, that's nice and, you know, very picturesque and stuff, and then going out and realizing that it's minus 30 or something, and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I miss my winter, I miss my snow. I'm from Iowa, so we always had a good cold winter, being up there closer to like the Minnesota and Canada, and I miss it, but I don't miss the cold.
It's
I
like
just miss the snow.
It's like I miss it, but not that much. Not that much.
Right. I miss the snow, but I don't miss the cold.
Well, the whole aspect, you know, of the, you know, the menacing aspect of winter is coming in reference to Game of Thrones is the fact that these kind of undead, which essentially they're the undead kind of thing. These like sort of almost magical, mythical kind of undead kind of zombie-like kind of creatures essentially are curtailed to being in the north of, you know, of the world that is Game of Thrones by the fact that, you know, it's mainly summertime when you kind of, you know, throughout the most part of Game of Thrones, and there's this event that every so often occurs where you have a very long winter time, and the winter kind of the effects of winter and the coldness kind of drift down through the entirety of Westeros, the land that Game of Thrones is basically, you know, sort of basically that's the land of Game of Thrones sort of thing. And with it basically comes this ability for this undead army of zombies, you know, sort of to basically roam down from the south and kill everyone and everything and burn everything. Well, not burn everything, but, you know, basically kill everything and then turn all of those people who they killed into, you know, basically undead rank and file of their own army kind of thing. So that's where the menacing aspect of it comes. And essentially what we're doing is we're watching these series of events unfold with you know, with vested interest in certain people who aren't the undead in actually surviving it, sort of thing. But also,
and Sally Solomon just mentioned another show there that I meant to watch because I took great interest in it when I first saw the previews for it. Was Vikings.
Oh, Vikings is pretty good. Yeah.
I've never seen a single episode of it yet, and then I just read that Sally's waiting on season 5. Yeah. I missed that much of it already.
You have, but to be fair, like I did watch. I think I watched episode like series 1 and 2. I haven't watched 3, 4, or 5, or 3 or 4. If they're waiting on 5, but I remember watching it and kind of going, well, you know, it's just going to be some like random ass like Viking kind of thing. It's really, really entertaining. You know, Ragnar Lothbrok, Loki, all of those kind of dudes, like they have. You know, it's not one of those shows where, you know, they have ideas of characters and they leveraged it again, you know, on actors who can't really act or don't really quite understand how to act that character. Like you get that real sense of understanding that character. What's that? What about?
This is a list of movies that I have written down from the last 3 years now that I keep meaning to watch. I haven't seen a single one yet. I just write them down. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it someday.
I'll watch it at some point. The list, like, sort of recommendations to RW, essentially. This is the RW recommended to RW list kind of thing, yeah?
Pretty much. I mean, there's some pretty good ones on there too. The latest Avengers I still haven't seen yet. American Sniper, I still have not seen that one yet.
Oh, that's a pretty good film.
Edge of Tomorrow, Lucy with ScarJo.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I would recommend Ghost in the Shell as well if you haven't got that down there. That's really good. I mean, like, Scarlett Johansson's kind of acting on the majority of Lucy was quite wooden, but like I'm not entirely certain how much she could actually act in that regard, because she had to be some kind of like highly sentient kind of, you know, human being sort of thing. So it was a bit weird. Like, how do you
Transformers: The Last Night just came out.
Yeah.
And I want to go watch that one because I've always been a huge fan of that series. And then I just found out a couple weeks ago that they're actually going to do a spin-off of that with Bumblebee. He's going to have his own movie.
Nice. Well, you know, I mean, Bumblebee's probably one of the few Transformers that actually you do get a real kind of, I like a sort of a strange connection to, sort of thing. Because he's not like some like, you know, ultimate kind of super powerful kind of Transformer, and he's got his, you know, it's like if you're making characters for a film, you have to kind of, for an audience to relate to it, it has to have some aspect of it that's broken, some aspect of it that's not quite perfect, if you know what I mean, for people to relate to. And the fact that, like, you know, Bumblebee has a relatable kind of aspect to it in some way, shape or form, by the fact that he's got a bit of a broken voice box, at least initially on the first film, 2 films, something like that. I think he eventually gets repaired, right? Something like that.
Bumblebee is like a Minotaur.
Like, don't worry, we'll duct tape that together again, it's fine. Yeah.
Well, when Bumblebee's first incarnation, that old yellow Camaro in the very first movie, kind of did look like a Minotaur.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, we've got like 3 minutes left. I would say 3 minutes. Yep, 3 minutes left. It literally just ticked over to 57 minutes past. 3 minutes left. I'm just going to say, we're going to quickly plug the Meta Show, which is on in 2-3 minutes time. Both will be talking to a bunch of people, and I know those bunch. I actually have a list of bunch of people who he's going to be talking to. So Meta Show is going to be starring, obviously, Boat, because reasons. But it's also going to be starring Elise Randolph of PL. He's going to be talking to Jin Tan of CVA, and Rain, our very own Chocolate Rain, Rain. God, what is it? Social Club. Can't quite remember the full name of it, and she's going to be really annoyed by me about that, probably. But they're going to be talking about the Alliance tournament, which is coming up next, which is going to be starting, at least in terms of coverage, is going to be starting next weekend, and basically running for 4 more weekends after that. So it's going to be next weekend, the weekend after, the weekend after that, weekend after that. And obviously the last weekend is going to be the finals and stuff, but essentially there's going to be that, and there's also next weekend there's also going to be, if you know of EVNT, they're doing a viewing party in Nottingham for the first part of the Alliance tournament, so that's going to be really, really awesome. But yeah, they're going to be talking about the Alliance tournament and all of the awesomeness that happens at the Alliance tournament. Obviously, Elise Randolph has been, and I think is also, I think all 3 of them, Elise Randolph, Rain, and Jin Tan, are going to be commentating through most of it. So that's going to be really, really cool. They're obviously going to be well versed in the awesomeness that is space combat in EVE Online. So
time to buy up the Balgorns.
Oh yeah, time to buy out the Balgorns. Most definitely. But I mean, that's pretty much all we have for this week. Thank you very much, RW, for being on. Thank you very much, everybody out there, for tuning in and staying tuned, and obviously all the follows. I'd love to have gotten subscribes, but it's all good. But all the followers,
I like to mention out all the followers when they follow us, but there were so many of them today I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you very much for that. But that'll be it for the Whiskey Gaming show this week. Up next is Meta Show, so stay tuned.
And we promise we'll try to have Eric back next week.
That is the aim. Anyway, see you later, guys.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next week. Peace.